A good Erev Shabbos to you all, and I hope you're all well. Firstly, Mazel Tovs this week. Mazel Tov to Ruth and Andy Melesh on Samuel's Bar Mitzvah, to Joanna and David Tershwell on Amy's Bar Mitzvah, and to grandparents Gloria and Leon Tershwell, to Leanne and David Altberg on Natan's Bar Mitzvah, to Freda and Asher Gabsi on the birth of their daughter Olivia, to Diane and David Steen on the birth of their grandson, and to Margaret Montrose and Raymond and Rachel Jason on the birth of a great-grandson, and to anyone else who's celebrating a birthday, anniversary, or any other simcha. We wish Refuah Shlema a full and speedy recovery to anyone who's unwell. We wish Arich Hashamim long life to Ian Poland on the sad passing of his father, and to anyone observing a yahrzeit in the coming week. You know, I came across this wonderful news story the other day. It's about someone called Emma Schmecker, a 30-year-old teacher in Oklahoma who has an unusual hobby. You see, she collects second-hand books, but not to read them. Instead, she forages through discount bookstores, thrift shops and vintage boutiques, hoping to uncover forgotten treasures nestled between the tattered pages of used paperbacks. Now, most of them she finds things like plane tickets, receipts, dried flowers, business cards, newspaper clippings and recipes, and even coupons and other miscellaneous items, and sometimes she's also found used tissues. But on occasion, Schmecker unearths misplaced gems, photographs that tell a story, a poignant poem, or a letter that never got sent. Now, Schmecker revels in these rare cases and makes it her mission to seek out the original owners of the long-lost tokens. Her goal is to reunite them with their keepsake and to learn their story. To her surprise, she's had some great success. Over the past 2 years, Schmecker has found hundreds of neat trinkets and reunited several lost items with their rightful owners. Most recently, after more than a year of searching, she managed to find a father and daughter pictured in a photo booth strip from 13 years ago that was left in a book. And she's really a fantastic example of the mitzvah Hashavas Aveda, to return lost objects. It's described in this week's Seder in the Pasuk. You shall not see the ox of your brother or his lamb wandering and hide yourself from them. Hashev teshivem la'achicha. You shall surely return them to your brother. And the Torah continues, if your brother isn't near you and you don't know him, then you shall bring it inside your house, and it shall remain with you until your brother's inquiring about it, and then you shall return it to him. Now, although this is fairly straightforward, what's really interesting to note is that the Torah uses the phrase Hashev teshivem, you shall surely return it, to express this requirement of returning a lost object. You see, the Torah could have used the expression Chazeh tachzirem to express the exact same idea that the object should be returned. So why does it use the term lashuv instead of the more common verb lachzor? Well, the Shlara explains that the use of the term hashev teshivem connotes the idea of teshuvah. The Torah here is discussing returning a person's lost wallet or pen, but at the same time, it's alluding to a situation where the person themselves is lost. And so by saying hashev teshivem, which can be translated as you shall help them do teshuvah, God is urging us to bring lost souls back to him. Now, has it ever happened to you that one of your children got lost? You were at a shopping center or a theme park, somewhere with lots of people around, and you suddenly became separated from your child. You can't see them anywhere, they're lost. You know, there are few circumstances in life that are more traumatic for a parent than having lost a child. And parents naturally freak out in such circumstances. Now, most of the time, Baruch Hashem, the child is found within a few moments. But if it takes until the child turns up, that puts the grey hairs on the person's head. Now, how grateful would we feel towards the person who reunites us with our child? We can't thank them enough. We are God's children. God has so many lost children. How much sorrow do we give to God? How much pain do you think he's feeling seeing so many of us, his children, lost? Hashev teshivem. That's why God implores us to return, to find him again. And imagine the joy that God feels when we're reunited. You know, in Malachi, God says, Ki ani Hashem lo shanisi. I, God, haven't changed, but you have turned away from me. Shuva elai va'ashuva aleichem. Return to me, and I will be returned to you. You know, during the month of Elul, we contemplate God's greatness, and we reflect on the constant goodness that we receive from him. And that is why now we must realize that what our duty is in exchange for it, quite simply, to keep mitzvahs and avoid doing what's prohibited. Good Shabbos.